A third temple in Jerusalem. In Israel, Orthodox Jews eagerly anticipate and pray regularly for the construction of a third temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. In their theology, the existence of a standing temple with active worship services is necessary to usher in the age of their Messiah. In 1987, the Temple Movement organization began preparations for the rebuilding of the temple, with the hope of achieving this goal after the year 2000. Another organization, the Temple Mount Faithful, has taken on the tasks of promoting acceptance of the idea of the new temple within the Jewish community, and having the temple's cornerstone and assorted furniture made. The newly formed Sanhedrin has organized training for the Kohanim priesthood in the performance of ceremonial temple duties, including sacrificial offerings. Even the special red heifer cattle required to be killed and cremated for their ashes to be used in a priestly purification rite were raised by a Christian rancher in Texas and shipped to Israel in September 2022. In fact, many Christians, though recognizing that Jesus is the Messiah of the Jews and Gentiles, who already made his first advent over 2,000 years ago, also look forward to the establishment of a third temple as one of the final milestones along the road to fulfillment of end-time prophecy. Why is this? By these Christians, being mainly adherents to dispensationalism, who look forward to being raptured prior to the second coming of Christ, the event will be welcomed as an omen, signaling their impending escape from this world, even as they believe it will also mark the rise to power of the Antichrist, whom the Jews will initially accept as a false Messiah and then suffer horribly under during the time of tribulation. One can't help but wonder whether very many in Israel really understand the mindset and motives behind the support that has been offered by these Christians over the years for the restoration of their nation and the reestablishment of the temple. On the other hand, it might be expected that they have little concern for what they regard as Christian superstition. Many of these Christians insist that Revelation 11:1-2 referred to a physical temple in Jerusalem in the last days, rather than the body of Christ, the true temple of God, according to 1 Corinthians 3:16, because John was asked in his vision to rise and measure the temple of God and all that worship within it. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Rise and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. This attribution of significance to a physical temple in Jerusalem in a Christian prophecy about the return of Christ is baffling, because, regardless whether that temple might be built, those who would worship in it would not be his followers. Why would Jesus have asked John to quantify the worshippers in a Jewish temple who, by definition, are those who reject him as Messiah, as though they comprised a group that was sacred to the exclusion of those outside? The notion squarely contradicts Christian soteriological doctrine. It is much more sensible to think that the body of Christ was meant. After all, in his time, John would not have had a separate word for a church building as distinct from a temple, because the former did not yet exist as such, both being houses of worship. It will later be shown here that the 42 months mentioned in the passage would turn out to be a period when pagandom, under the Antichrist beast, trampled on the boundaries of Christianity, not of Judaism. It is prudent to remember Jesus' own declaration to Jerusalem, before we imagine it playing a preeminent role in biblical end-times prophecy. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets and stones those sent to her, how often I have longed to gather your children together, as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings. But you were unwilling. Look, your house is left to you desolate, and I tell you that you will not see me again until you say, Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Luke 13:34-35. Has the image of multitudes praying into a wall for so many generations become so normalized that the tragic irony of it is now lost on us?